Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome to the CNBC-TV18 Mumbai studio. I'm Pavitra, with me is Sonal, and you're tuned into a very special edition of Your Stocks, where we're going to be talking all about the new listings and we're taking all of the queries that you guys have sent in. Sonal, we haven't seen this kind of frenzy in a while, right? I mean, Tata Technologies, it was always expected to be good, but to say it lists with a 140% premium, then goes to 170.
Yeah.
And, even beyond that, you have Gandhar, which is up around 80% now. Fedbank has recovered. So it's just madness, and the queries have been coming in thick and fast.
Exactly, because there's so much interest, right? What to do if you have got the allotment and what to do if you've not? Should you actually enter into at current levels? Because it has been madness all over, right? So let's do one thing. We decided to actually take all your queries together and get them answered, because it's been a very special day for new listings, massive premium on listings as well. So joining us on the special show is Sharad Avasthi, the head of PCG Research at SMIFS, and Mayuresh Joshi, head of equity research at William O'Neill. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. And as Pavitra and I have been mentioning, it's been a very special day for listings, right? And it's been the IPO frenzy that we've been talking about in the last couple of weeks as well. In fact, Tata Technologies made a stellar market debut today, listed at a 140% premium to the issue price of 500. So we have a lot of queries pouring in from our viewers about what to do with this stock now. And then, of course, we'll take the other ones as well. The likes of Gandhar Oil, there's fedfina, there's Ireda, which actually listed 2 days back. So let's start with the first one, actually. We have a caller today with us. Umang Shah is joining us on the phone line from Mumbai. Umang, what is your query on Tata Tech? Please go ahead.
What should we do in Tata Technologies? It is a premium of 140% plus. Should we hold or we should sell the shares?
Okay, so you have received allotment?
Yeah, I have received the allotment.
Okay, congratulations to you.
Lucky
First up, that you have got the allotment. So Umang has received one lot of 30 shares in Tata Tech. His question is what to do now after this massive move that we have seen. Mayuresh, what is your take here?
Afternoon, Sonal. So I think, first of all, congratulations to the investor. I think one of the lucky few ones who's got the allotment. But two things stand out. One, I think with the kind of premium that Tata Tech is now commanding, more than 170%, valuations have definitely gone out of whack. I think it's trading even more than 75 odd times forward earnings as we speak. Having said that, the pure construct in terms of the product mix that it has got, the R&D profile, the expectations in terms of the aeronautical engineering and the niche offerings in terms of both products and platforms, that does definitely make this company stand out. But to a large extent, with the kind of listing that we've got, the kind of subscription numbers that we also had, it was always expected to be the case. But I think the investor is very well advised to probably hold on to the stock. Whether you add new positions, as your question was in your opening remarks, Sonal, the take is that you should probably wait for some element of this frenzy to play out over the next few days. Obviously, I think if it corrects significantly, and by significant, I mean it has to have a decent correction for valuations to be at par with not just its peers, but also its own expectations in terms of the next 2-3 year earnings, which should be reasonably good. I think you will get opportunities. As we said at Markets with India, we create and wait out for a structure for new listings called as the IPO base. It can happen anywhere between 5 days to around 3 to 4 weeks. So fresh investors definitely need to wait. Lucky investor like Umesh can definitely hold on to this one, but you need to have a longer term view now, with at least 2 to 3 years as a time horizon.
Okay, can hold on. That is the view from Mayuresh. Let's also ask Sharad what he thinks. Sharad, one of the lucky few investors that's, got allotment in the IPO. But what do you suggest, when you see this kind of listing again coming through, do you think it's best to just hold this kind of company for the long term? It is, a good company, decently valued as well. Or would you say take part profits in this because the premium has already been so high?
Yeah, I think more than the premiums, it is the valuation which is getting a bit stretched. But when you look at the comparable valuations, the only thing that can go wrong for Tata Tech probably is that Tata Elxsi and KPIT, the valuations come down. So comparable valuations for Tata Tech might not look that good. But we were modeling 30-35% growth for the company, which is better than what is off the table expected for KPIT or say Tata Elxsi. So I think a premium is warranted. The size is similar to Tata Elxsi or slightly larger, but with 30-35% growth over the next 2-3 years, I think they will be a larger company vis-a-vis Tata Elxsi. So the premium I would think is justified. The only pitfall could be that if the comparable companies come down in valuation terms, which is very much possible. But considering the current scenario, I think it's a risk-on kind of market that we are looking at with the interest rates peaking, the reversal, there is very strong flow. The aerospace division could be a very good addition for them. The Airbus order should start contributing. So if you are an investor who's willing to continue and look at the most optimistic targets, I think 30 rupee EPS 40-50 times is possible. So very optimistically, you can continue to hold for 1500 rupee kind of targets. But if you are a sane investor who looks at valuation metrics, I think these are prices you should be getting out. And this is a good story for a 3 to 4 year horizon. But within a 3 to 4 year horizon, I believe you will get some hiccup somewhere or the other, whether external or internal to the company. That should be the time you should be looking to accumulate, say, 30-35% lower from current levels.
Okay, so your take is that Umang should continue to hold it and not book profits at current levels. Am I right?
Yeah, if he is willing to wait for that 1500, 1600 kind of stuff. But if he is a value investor and he is not looking to just play the momentum, I think it's better to exit. You should get lower levels, maybe in 3 months, maybe in 6 months.
Okay, got that. Umang, I hope that answers your query from both of our guests coming in and saying that perhaps for right now you can continue to hold. Great that you got allotment in this IPO and it could rise further to maybe 1600 as well. The second big listing today is Gandhar Oil Refinery. Saw a strong debut as well. It listed at around a 76% premium. It's also gone up further after that price. So the listing price was 298 rupees and the issue price was 169 rupees a piece. We have Satish Kumar who's written into us and he is asking whether to sell his shares or remain invested in Gandhar Oil. Sona, a lot of lucky investors writing into us, right? All of these people seem to have gotten allotment when we have not. So, Sharad, let me come to you on Gandhar. How would you look at this? He's, gotten allotment in this one, but he's saying after this strong debut, what should he do?
I think, again, if you are willing to hold on for a 3 to 4 year horizon, even now, the expectation is that earnings could double over the next 2-3 years. So you might be looking at a 35-40 kind of EPS for the company. Based on that, I think the valuation at the current price is still around 8-9 times. And I think this is a stock that can, with the market dominant positioning and etc., I think there is a possibility that the risk on remains and we are in bullish territories. There is a possibility this could trade at around 15x. So your long-term targets could be around 500, 550. So you can continue to hold, but you have to be a long-term investor. In case you are someone who's not willing to wait more than 2.5 years on the stock, I think then it will make sense to exit at current prices.
Okay, so you could exit at current prices if you have gotten into Gandhar Oil Refinery. And as you said, it is something of a niche position that the company enjoys. It's a market leader here into specialty oils and it caters to a lot of segments with 450 products actually and has seen decent growth as well. But that's on Gandhar Refinery because that also saw a great deal of interest coming through in this IPO. Mayuresh, let me come to you on Fedbank Financial Services because that has been an outlier in the scenario that we've seen today. It made a subdued debut on the exchanges, listed with a discount of about 2% to its issue price. This comes after the IPO was subscribed a little over 2 times during the issue period. Now, we have seen a recovery from the lows and it is connected to Federal Bank as well in terms of the NBFC arm that it is of the bank. The viewers want to know what is the future of this new listing, whether they should hold or sell, or these levels are correct to buy on from the current perspective that we are looking at.
So, Sonal, I think the assets under management, 9,000 odd crores, the expectations of the management are very, very optimistic in terms of the AUM growth itself, expecting that to grow in double digits. What they've probably delivered in terms of the ROEs at 2.31 for the last financial year, ROAs at 2.31, ROEs at around 14.5%, the risk-weighted capital adequacy close to 18 odd percent, NIMs close to 9 odd percent. So I think the only hiccup in terms of numbers has been the increase in asset quality pressures. So GNPA is at 2.26, net NPAs at 1.72 in the quarter gone by, have shown some element of increase. And obviously, I think the segments that they cater to, personal loans, wholesale loans, specifically MSMEs, self-employed individuals. I think the risk-on circular that RBI had issued maybe provisioning at 22% might need to get elevated at this juncture. And therefore, I think the numbers might be something to watch out for. Interestingly, I think one of the few IPOs which received the least response out of the whole lot. Valuation perspective, reasonably placed. Yes, it's a subsidiary of Federal Bank. But my own take is that if you have not got any allotments, just wait out for the December quarter numbers. I think it's just a matter of time that the December quarter numbers in a matter of 4 to 6 weeks will come out. Let's see how the numbers probably play out quarter on quarter, what the management take is in terms of their positioning compared to peers, and the overall positioning that probably happens within the space itself, assuming all the macros and the micro developments that are probably happening. So my take is for fresh investors, let's wait out for this one for the December quarter.
Okay, that perhaps makes sense. Wait for a little bit. The stock listed at around 2% kind of discount. It's up around 1.5% now. We do need to take a break, but Mayuresh, Sharad, please stay with us. We're going to be back in just 2 minutes and we'll discuss the other big listings that have come through. We're going to talk about Flair Writing, which is tomorrow, as well as Ireda, which listed yesterday.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into our special Your Stocks edition. We have with us Sharad Avasthi and Mayuresh Joshi. And today we are discussing everything about the new listings. There have been some bumper listings that we are talking about, which happened today and yesterday as well. So the one stock that we are focusing on is Ireda. Saw a strong debut yesterday, listing with gains of about 55% to its issue price. This is the second most successful PSU listing that we have seen in the last decade after IRCTC. So Mr. Samrat Jadhav is right writing to us from Pune. He says if Ireda listing can help expand India's renewable energy capacity, basically he's trying to understand whether there is more upside available from these levels despite the big uptick that we've seen, a 56% premium. We have built onto those gains as well. So is there something which is possible in terms of profits from here on, or they should book some profits here? Mayuresh, come in on this because it talks about the big shift towards renewable energy. There is a lot of focus here as well. Do you think this company can continue to work towards that, and in that case there will be more gains coming in?
So Sonal, I think as far as the macro structuring is concerned, there is a huge runaway opportunity available for IREDA, PFC and REC. The renewable targets that the central government has kept, we are expected to reach 280 gigawatts by FY25, 500 gigawatts by FY30. So I think the kind of spending that will come through in terms of renewables and setting this whole ecosystem up is close to 30 lakh odd crores. And financing out of that will account for almost 12 lakh odd crores. Now the loan growth that IREDA has been doing at more than 30% far higher than what PFC, REC have been doing. The share in terms of the renewables is almost 31, 32 odd percent. The expectations in terms of the profitability growth as well has been compounding over the last 3 to 5 years at a very decent clip. The mix between private and government at 70-30, 70 to 38, 28 odd also probably remains healthy in lieu of the fact that GNPAs and net NPAs at 3.2, 1.7 are expected to come off, with NIMs expected to improve further as their risk management practices, if the management belief is expected to be very, very solid. Now, the only issue, Sonal, is that after this listing, it is at par with what PFC is, or even a little bit more expensive on a price to book basis. But is the structural story in place for the power sector as a whole? Absolutely yes. Are there a lot of opportunities for these power financiers as far as green financing or green energy is concerned, where IREDA is largely present? Absolutely yes. Are valuations expensive? Yes. But will they command a premium if earnings keep on coming through, both in terms of order books and execution? That probably remains a high possibility. So if you've got allotted, again, a lucky investor can probably hold on if he has that longer term view of 3 to 4 years.
Okay, so with a longer term view, it definitely makes sense to hold on to this one. Sharad, is that a view that you share as well? The stock saw 87% in terms of a gain on day one. Now it's up 13% on day two. Do you think you should still hold?
No, well, I'm very positive about what would happen in terms of the asset quality to the company, because most of the GNPAs are coming from two sectors, one biomass and one other sector, which they would not be focusing largely going ahead, and solar would be the primary focus. And solar only has 0.5% of GNPA. So ideally, the GNPA profile should improve going forward. But the current valuations are roughly targeting what 26 rupee book value they had. Consider another 10 rupees kind of accretion over the next 2 years. So it is already trading at 2 times price to book. So I would be happier buying a PFC or a RSC where they scale up to, PFC particularly, where they scale up to 2 times price to book and the book is much larger. I don't think IREDA makes sense now because we had targets of around 72, 75 on the stock, which is 2 years down the line, and it's already trading somewhere around that. So I think a sensible investor should not be into it. There are much larger players available that could take benefit of the renewable space.
Okay, all right. So that's your take on IREDA. The idea is generally that, yes, fundamentally this company would continue to do well. But let's talk about one more company. The IPO opened with the other companies, the likes of Tata Technologies, Gandhar Oil, but it's listing tomorrow. That is stationery maker Flair Writing Industries. It's a 593 crore IPO, which was open for subscription and subscribed at 49.28 times. The company will be listed on exchanges tomorrow. So generally, what's your take on these, on this particular company, gentlemen? We will see, of course, the listing gains that come by tomorrow. But apart from that, what do you make of the entire IPO, about the company and the fundamentals as well? Sharad, let me start with you.
Flair, I'm bullish. I think long term it should be in a very good spot. The writing product business per se should be good in India. They would grow at around 50-55%. I think there is a possibility that over the next 2 years you could see earnings escalate by around 50%. So considering that, it should be around 16 times. So we are modeling in a target of somewhere around 480-500 on the stock. Based on a 20% discount, if you get around 400, say, on the listing date, that should be a decent return to make.
Okay, got that. Mayuresh, let me come to you as well on Flair. I was going through the financials, looks quite steady here. You know, for FY23, the top line's around 950 crores. The margin has expanded well to almost 20% as well. And it is one of the top players in the segment as well. So do you think that this is a good one to look at?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think, as Sharad mentioned, I think if you probably have a strict comparison, Pavitra, with Link Pens, who becomes its closest competitor, Link's margins around 12.5, Flair much, much higher than Link. The expectations in terms of writing instruments as a market, around 6,000 odd crores, based both in terms of pens, pencils, and marker pens at this juncture, expected to grow at 6.5% to almost 9,000 odd crores. The writing instrument, that is the pens market, expected to grow from 4,300 odd crores to 6,500 at an 8% growth rate. So I think the growth dynamics obviously exist, along with a very strong margin profile. Obviously, the listing for Flair happens at a significant premium. My own sense is that investors can probably hold on. But if this premium extends, because it's such a commoditized space, Pavitra, I think if you look at the mass market, which is between 5 and 15 odd rupees, mid-premium between 15 to 50 or 100, and premium above 100 odd, the mass market is what probably rules. And there are a lot of players, local as well, who are competing in this. Flair obviously stands out among the top 3 players, both in the pens and the stationery market. But if it's a substantial premium listing, more than what the market is expecting, I think booking some money out of this one will probably make sense. And then you can hold on to the rest of the stock that you probably have for at least a year, 2 years, to probably ride the earnings momentum that there.
Okay, all right. Take your point, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us with your take on the new listings and the one that we are expecting tomorrow as well. It's been a good time for the new listings, so let's see what happens going forward. For the markets for now, it continues to be a down day for the Nifty, but of course, it's a little bit of breather that we are seeing today. It is down 28 points. The mid-cap side of things doing really well. The mid-cap index is up 192 points as we speak, and of course, it is the monthly expiry, so the last 1 hour of trading session will be very important in terms of the moves. So we'll take your leave on this edition of Your Stocks, but do remember to email us your queries and we'll address them with our experts. Stay tuned for Closing Bell to take you through the last hour of trade.